What is going on, everyone? Welcome into another episode of Talkin Grizz. This now is you, Brooke, are the only person who has been on 3 times. So I'm welcoming you back. This is Brooke Olzendam, the sideline reporter for the Portland Trailblazers. Welcome.
Thank you. What an honor.
Yeah, right? It's like we just love playing you guys, but at the same time, we don't because we keep getting canceled or postponed whenever we.
I know. That was so, it was expected at some point during the season, right? It's bound to happen. I think the NBA and all the NBA teams have done a fantastic job of being as safe as possible. So it wasn't necessarily shocking that it happened, but it's still weird when you're mentally preparing for a game. I mean, for you and I, mentally preparing, getting on the notes, you and I chatted about the upcoming games, and then they both got postponed. So it was kind of an odd feeling there for a while, but obviously we knew they'd get, they'd plan it down the road at some point. So now we're here again, redoing it.
It felt like deja vu too, because it was last season where the Grizzlies came to Portland as well. And we were like, oh, just kidding.
That's so bizarre. That's the only time that has happened to us too. So weird.
Okay, but now there are 3 games coming up. Fingers crossed everything goes well.
Knock on wood.
In our last chat, even though we didn't play, we did talk about this friendly rivalry that is brewing between these 2 teams. I think boiling over from the play-in game last season. Right. So here's my question to you. As Portland is currently in number 6, they're kind of right on top of the play-in. Grizzlies are number 8 right now, trying to get either above or stay in that play-in. Do you think that the postseason implication is going to have any type of effect in the 3 games coming up in the next 6 days, or was this going to be a battle no matter what?
I think you don't like to look too far ahead, right? But at the same time, you kind of do, because it's impossible not to. About this time, actually right after All-Star, I'm constantly checking the standings all the time, because you want to see how teams around you are doing, in terms of number 7, I believe is Dallas right now. And so you're kind of checking their scores. So I think that this is a big week for both Memphis and Portland, because this could very much come down to who is in the play-in game and who is in the playoffs and doesn't have to play the play-in game. Obviously, with this new format, every team would like to get 6 or above and just not even have to worry about that, right? Because anything can happen. We saw that in the bubble. Then you see Phoenix going to win every single game and then not be able to continue. So, there's just you just never know what can happen. So you really want that cushion and that confidence that you are in the playoffs, and then you figure it out in terms of whatever team you're playing and preparing for that. So yeah, I think these games are huge, and it's going to be really interesting to see the adjustments each team makes, because I'd say, well, it's a good thing for Portland to get to play the same team 3 out of 4 times, because you can make adjustments, but that same can be said for Memphis. It's the same, the benefit to both teams. So I think it will be interesting though, and to see which adjustments work for each team, and to see the progression each game. Who knows? I've been looking forward to it, just because the anticipation, has been high since we were supposed to already play these games. But yeah, it will come down to a game, a half a game. It's just so tight in the West that every game matters. So these next 3 out of 4 for us, and same for you guys, are very important.
Okay, I'm gonna pull it back a bit, because there will be so much adjusting, especially in that 3rd game eventually when Portland comes to Memphis. Mm-hmm. But these 2 teams right now, I was looking at the stats, they play very different styles of basketball, and these are just the 3 little stats that I picked out. Portland is 2nd in 3-point attempts, and they're pretty high. It's top 10 in makes as well, but Grizzlies are 24th. And on the other end, Grizzlies are 1st in fast break points and points in the paint, whereas Portland is 22 and 30. So totally different styles. Going into these first games, maybe especially the first one, what are the keys for Portland, at least, to try and, slow down the Grizzlies, still get their 3s, limit points in the paint? What are going to be the major keys?
Well, that's really interesting, because something that the Blazers have been focusing on trying to improve is fast break defense, transition defense. Yeah. That is something, that's an area that has been lacking. And we talk about it, coach talks about it. It's something that needs to improve. So that is a benefit to you guys for sure. But the 3-point shot is kind of our bread and butter, like you just mentioned. We have a lot of great 3-point shooters. We shoot at a high level. We shoot a lot, and they make a lot too. So it's one of those things where when they get hot, when Dame's shooting, and he got range he can shoot at half court. And has in the All-Star game. And then you got CJ, who, really focused, CJ McCollum focused on extending his range and shooting more threes. So he is shooting at a higher clip this season than ever before. And then Norman Powell, one of our newest Blazers, he shoots the three well. Robert Covington also shoots the three well. So if they're on with that shot, that's a good thing because they kind of get into a rhythm. But in terms of, defense, that's really been the focus this season for the Blazers, is improving defense as a whole. But I would definitely say the specific area that needs most improvement would be transition defense. So you guys get the point there.
Okay, I'm going to do one more, though, because we do talk about guards a lot, especially with us as well. We talk about Ja and Jaren, who is back now. I know he plays a big, but he spaces the floor well. These two teams are number 1 and 2 in second chance points, which has a lot to do with rebounding. Now, our big guy, JV, we don't have a timeline on his return right now. He's in concussion protocol. So when we talk about bigs on your team or guys who are really big in rebounding, who kind of needs to eat on that end to get those second chance points going?
Well, so we were, our GM, Neil Shea, they made a huge move by bringing back Enes Kanter, who was with the team 2 seasons ago. I don't know if you've been following him, but he has just been a beast on the boards. He had 30 rebounds to set a franchise record about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks. It was insane. It was crazy. And that's just his thing. Like, he focuses on that. It's most, and we talk about it all the time, it's the most impressive skill that he has, where he can follow the ball from when one of our guys shoots it, and he knows where it is, where it's coming off the backboard or off the rim. But he has caught so many. I mean, I hate to say that there have been a few air balls, but there have. But it's almost like an assist to him. He tracks it all the way to where it's going. It's just unbelievable. So the reason I say it was such a gift to bring him in is because our starting center, Yusuf Nurkic, another injury. He's had a few of them, so he was out for a number of games. So Enes moved into the starting role and just really flourished, especially on the offensive board. So he is that guy. He's strong. He kind of just takes that ownership of the paint and make sure he tells the guys, he says, "You shoot, I will do everything in my power to get that rebound." He's like, I want them to feel confident that they can shoot from wherever and whenever, and that I've got their backs. I can clean it up. So he's something else. It's been, like I said, a godsend for this team after Nurk got hurt. But now that Nurk is back, he is on a minutes restriction. He's a good rebounder as well, but he kind of is more a facilitating center. He does a lot of pick and rolls with Dame and CJ, pick and pops. He's a great passer.
He's a little more like Jaren.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So our 2 centers are talented in their own ways, but very different. But in terms of your question, offensive rebounding is Enes Kanter's. It's his passion.
I mean, 30 rebounds. Like, sometimes teams don't even get 30 rebounds.
I know. It was crazy. It was so funny. So there was a free throw, and he had 28, which was already a franchise record because it was 27. So he already passed it. But then it was kind of one of those things where everyone's like, we'll get to 30. If you're already at 28, get to 30. So coach at the end, and the game was in hand. Thank goodness it was a win too. So it was a feel good night, but the game was in hand. There were just a couple minutes left, and coach brought some guys in. He kind of not cleared the bench, but Enes thought that he was. And so Enes started walking to the bench, and everyone's like, no, you're staying out there. And so it was a great moment. When he got 29, everyone's like on the edge of their seat standing up. And when he got 30, the bench just erupted. And it was my favorite moment of the season so far, because it was really cool to see the support. And he gave all the credit to his teammates, as he always does. He's a great post-game interview, but it was a feel-good moment. But yeah, he's just nuts down there on the boards.
That's okay. Well, I'm glad that didn't happen against the Grizzlies. That does sound like a really great experience. And you always kind of see your guys are very much, team mentality. And I watch your post-game interviews, and they always are, praising each other. So that is nice to see. I'm hoping that doesn't happen.
I understand completely. I really do. But the last couple nights have been tough. We had back-to-back with the Clippers and then the Nuggets, and it came down to the last second, both losses by 1 point on the last shot. And one of those is tough enough, but 2 in a row, it was frustrating for them, I know for sure. So they are really looking at the next stretch as hoping to pick up a couple games and to get back into a rhythm. So
depending how the schedule is going,
but whoever wins, I'll be pleased for us and pleased for you. But really, the Blazers need a dub.
We're also coming off Nuggets and Clippers, and then we have Nuggets in between the 2 Portland games. So we're just let's get this going. I'm excited for the 3 games against Portland. I know you are too. And thank you so much for your time. This was really fun. It's like you've done this a few times before.
Yeah, we have done this a few times. And this time, maybe we'll actually get to play the game.
All right, let's go. Grizzlies fans, you know you can always get more on grindcitymedia.com.